On the 9th of December 1989, a banner was unveiled at Old Trafford. It read, 3 years of excuses and it's still crap. Ta-ra, Fergie. Manchester United legend Alex Ferguson was on the brink of the sack. In today's video, we're exploring how this and some other close calls became true sliding door moments of English football. Manchester United had just lost 2-1 to Crystal Palace, and Alex Ferguson was 3 years into his time as Manchester United manager, without winning any silverware. The Scotsman had led the club to league finishes of 11th, 2nd and 11th again in his first 3 seasons. This 89-90 season had included a 5-1 loss to City rivals Manchester City at Main Road, and the club were on an 8-game winless run headed into an FA Cup third round game against Brian Clough's knockout football specialists, Nottingham Forest. Fergie was on the brink of the sack. Despite being the league's biggest spenders, United were struggling. 15th place, 2 points above the relegation zone, in a season where a title challenge had been anticipated. It's no surprise that the fans had turned. Fergie out and bye-bye Fergie chants, crisis issues of fanzines. United will never win anything again while he's the manager. Resign now, do the decent thing. It's fair to speculate that if social media had existed in this period, the Manchester United legend would have been sacked. Ferguson has described the month of December 1989, when the Red Devils didn't win a single game, as the darkest period he had ever suffered in the game. United were even without key players for the Forest fixture, most crucially their captain Brian Robson. The players were all well aware of the talk around the manager's future. In the lead up to the game, we were picking up the papers and reading that the manager was facing the sack. Robson was asked about the manager's future at halftime of the game. The pressure on Fergie was real. The game was tight at the City ground, with in the end Manchester United youth product Mark Robins scoring a goal in the 56th minute that would be enough for Manchester United to win the game and save Alex Ferguson's job. This would end up being not the only Manchester United manager's job that would be saved by Mark Robins in the FA Cup, if only temporarily in the case of Erik ten Hag recently. There was even a controversial late Forest goal disallowed that really could have changed history. What if that was given, or if then Forest got themselves a winner, or if they went on to win the replay? It's another what if in possibly the biggest sliding doors moment in English football history. Manchester United would then go on to reach the FA Cup final, where they faced Crystal Palace at Wembley. After they finished 13th in the First Division, just 5 points above the relegation zone, the pressure was still on at this point, and a loss could certainly have changed Fergie's fate. They ended up winning that final though, and the pressure on Ferguson's job eased. Fergie would go on to win the Cup Winners' Cup the year after, beating Barcelona in the final, and Manchester United would never look back. 38 major trophies later, he's regarded as one of, if not the greatest manager in sports history. But it could so easily have been no trophies, and Ferguson would have just become another unsuccessful manager in the search for something reminiscent of Busby's success in the 1960s. Would we have ever seen the class of 92 flourish? The treble of 99? There'd be no Fergie time? Do the likes of Keane, Rooney, Ronaldo end up at Manchester United? All of that could have been so different had there been a different result on January the 7th, 1990. Cristiano Ronaldo, the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, was so close to not being at Manchester United. In fact, Liverpool and Arsenal both came incredibly close to changing the course of one of football's most iconic players. Scouts from both Liverpool and Arsenal were seen in Portugal watching the future legend at Sporting Lisbon weekly. Liverpool icon Phil Thompson, who was Gerard Houlliér's assistant at the time, said Liverpool were in talks for a deal of £4 million for the young Portuguese phenomenon in 2003. Thompson met Tony Henry, who was working on behalf of Ronaldo's agent to get the youngster a move to the Premier League. He recalls that Sporting Lisbon were desperate to get him out, desperate for the money. Gerard Houllier also went to watch Ronaldo in person for the Portugal under-21s team over the summer, and Liverpool believed that there was a basis for the agreement of the winger's transfer, if only they could agree on wages. But then, on Tuesday the 12th of August 2003, Thompson and Houllier were watching Sky Sports when the ticker along the bottom said Manchester United had signed Cristiano Ronaldo for £12.2 million. Apparently Houllier lost it. What has gone on here? I thought it was for £4 million. Houllier would go on to say in the future that he believed that it would have caused problems in the dressing room if he were to break the wage structure by bringing in the youngster. Ronaldo at Liverpool would have seen him line up alongside the 2001 Ballon d'Or winner Michael Owen, but instead Liverpool signed Harry Kewell, who got the number 7 shirt that Ronaldo almost certainly would have received. Another club, Arsenal, also believed that they came close to capturing Cristiano Ronaldo. "It's true, I was an inch away from signing for Arsenal," he once said. "I saw Arsene Wenger 3 times with my mother. It was very close to being a done deal." Ronaldo had visited Arsenal as early as November 2002, where he even took preliminary medical tests. Wenger met him again in January of 2003, and Arsenal's chairman David Dein met Cristiano again in February. Negotiations continued before Dein met Ronaldo's party again in Paris in June, and there was even a meeting as late as August 1st, 2003. But 5 days later, Manchester United played Sporting Lisbon in a friendly, and 6 days after that, Cristiano Ronaldo was a Manchester United player. Wenger said that not signing Ronaldo was his biggest regret. He never signed a player from Jorge Mendes again after the Ronaldo saga. Arsenal still went on that year to become invincibles, but a front line including both Thierry Henry and Cristiano Ronaldo would have been something very special. Brian Clough is regarded as one of the greatest English managers to ever live. He won 17 trophies in his time as a manager, including back-to-back European Cups with Nottingham Forest. But despite this glowing resume, Clough never got the England job and is considered to be the greatest manager England never had. In 1977, Don Revie, a long-time rival of Clough, had just resigned as England manager to manage the UAE. The FA had 5 candidates for the job: Ron Greenwood, who was the interim coach, Laurie McMenemy, Jack Charlton, Dave Sexton and Brian Clough. Clough was the only one of the 5 to have a Division 1 title on his resume from his time at Derby County, and his Nottingham Forest side were top of the league at the time of Revie's resignation. Unsurprisingly, Clough was the media and public favourite for the country's top job. Clough was convinced he had the job after an interview. "The job's mine. I was absolutely brilliant. I told them what I do and how I do it." He went back to his right-hand man and assistant Peter Taylor, telling him the job was theirs. But Clough's interview was a sham. The FA were never considering Clough, as confirmed by a member of the selection committee, Peter Swales. "Sir Harold Thompson didn't want to grant Clough an interview in the first place," Swales said. "We were 90% against him." The FA had already decided that they were going to give the job to Ron Greenwood. They wanted someone who could be controlled, and they weren't a fan of Clough's character and theatrics. Typical FA decision. Ron, charming man, wouldn't hurt a fly. They didn't want any trouble. They didn't want me. They were shrewd enough to think that I was going to take over the FA, which I was going to. I would have taken them over lock, stock and barrel. Clough and his assistant Taylor were given the England youth team job, but that didn't last even a full year as they kept their focus on the Forest job. Perhaps fueled by the rejection, Clough would go on to win the first division that season with Forest. This would then lead to his back-to-back European Cups in 1979 and 1980. Clough would be interviewed again in 1982 after Ron Greenwood retired. By that time, Clough's resume was even stronger, but again, he was overlooked by the FA, who appointed Bobby Robson. However, the incumbent England manager told the then FA chairman, Sir Bert Millichip, to give the job to Clough. "I'm having a rough time and everyone wants Brian. Give the job to him. If he's successful, everybody's happy. If he fails, that's the end of the clamour for Brian Clough to be England manager." If Clough had been given the job, as Robson suggested, he would have been in charge, in theory, for Maradona's Hand of God and Goal of the Century. One thing's for certain though, Clough's reaction to those moments would have been blockbuster. Clough may not have been given the England job that he so desired. Perhaps it's the best thing that ever happened to him. Would we remember him in the same light had he not won those 2 European Cups? The England team at the time where he came closest to getting the job, in 1977, likely wasn't strong enough to challenge the West German and Italian team of that era, so there's no guarantee Clough would have succeeded with England. The legendary manager says himself, "I might have lasted less than 44 days, making jest of his short spell at Leeds United." One thing's for sure though, that decision from the FA not to appoint Brian Clough became one of the big sliding door moments in English football history. In the first game back from the 100-day COVID-19 hiatus, Aston Villa played Sheffield United. 41 minutes into the game, Ollie Norwood had a wide free kick go all the way through to the Villa goalkeeper Orjan Nyland, who caught the ball but fell into the goal after colliding with teammate Keenan Davis. Sheffield United players celebrate, but Michael Oliver points to his watch indicating that the ball hadn't crossed the line. However, replays showed that the ball clearly had crossed the line. Current and ex-players reacted on Twitter, bemused at the decision and the lack of the VAR intervention. Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder simply couldn't comprehend how that with all the camera angles, the goal hadn't been given. Hawkeye, the company that is in charge of goal line technology, said in a statement on the situation that the 7 cameras located in the stands were significantly occluded by the goalkeeper, defender and goalpost. This level of occlusion has never been seen before in over 9,000 matches. And the PGMOL stated that under IFAB, VAR could have checked the incident, but due to the unique nature of the incident, VAR chose not to intervene. The game ended 0-0, and the point that Villa got due to the decision kept them in the Premier League as they finished just 1 point above Bournemouth, who had also had a better goal difference. The error and decision not to give the goal has become a modern day sliding doors moment in the history of English football. This is not least due to the progress that Aston Villa have made since the incident. As a result of surviving, they've been able to sign players such as Ollie Watkins for 28 million, who has since scored 76 goals for Villa. 3 seasons after the incident, Villa have qualified for the Europa Conference League under Unai Emery, one of the most revered coaches in Europe, and then the year after that finished 4th and qualified for the Champions League for the first time since 1984. And then in Europe's biggest club competition, they've beaten Bayern Munich 1-0 at home. They've been truly riding high, and yet none of it may have happened had it not been for that one error and that sliding doors moment that, just like all of the other ones in today's video, changed the course of football history forever. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.